with family. They love the family, they love the movies.
Welcome to Film with Family. I'm Zach.
And I'm Austin.
And we are two cousins who like to talk about beach. Today we're doing the second half of our Barbie Heimer experience. We're going to talk about Barbie today. We have a special guest, our Aunt Rhyan.
Hi, you guys. Good to see you. Thanks for getting me to Barbie Land.
How you doing today, Rhyan?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day, and I'm excited to have a chance to finally talk about movies with Film with Family. And I think Austin did a brilliant job of saying Barbie was the right movie for me. Can I say how I decided to do Barbie?
Sure.
Okay, so you guys had been asking me, and Austin particularly, like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite movie? And I kept saying, well, I don't really have a favorite movie like Fantasia. Also, at some point in this kind of thought process, like, oh, maybe Gone with the Wind, but with the one that kept coming back to me was that Banshees of Inisherin. And
great one.
I love that movie. So, and I have watched it multiple times. So I've only seen Barbie once, but Austin had the brilliant idea, before the movie came out, he goes, hey, I think you should do Barbie. Let's go together. And I was like, awesome. So that's what we did. And Austin, being the amazing curator that he is, this is how I got to go to see a really fun movie.
Yeah. You seemed a little bit hurt that I had seen it before I saw it with you. And because I had the Barbenheimer experience with Drew. But, after watching Barbie, like literally directly after Oppenheimer, I don't feel like I fully could process it because I was still so overwhelmed with my feelings about Oppenheimer when I walked into the theater. I don't think, and this maybe is a larger conversation for later, but I just don't think they're a really good double feature. They're way too different of films. They're both over 2 hours long, well, I guess Barbie's pushing 2 hours, but it's just not an ideal scenario, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do Barbieheimer like you did, but it sounded like an overwhelming thing. And it seems like there's a lot to chew on with both of these movies in terms of themes and all that stuff. So trying to cram it all in one day sounds overwhelming.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it.
Wondering why everybody wanted it to be a double header, and I didn't see Oppenheimer, but I kept thinking, well, maybe it's because they're just two really culturally significant moments in time in very different ways. How we live in a society as humans, and then how we as humans can destroy society.
Seeing Barbie, especially with Drew, who was a little not that excited to see it. Actually, he thought we were only going to see Oppenheimer, and then I was like, no, we're doing both. And he was like, oh, Jesus. All right. So Drew wasn't super excited. We went, it was sort of an early afternoon in the middle of the week when we first saw it. So the vibe was a little lackluster, but then Saturday, seeing it with you and my mom, Liz, who people will remember from the Moonstruck episode, we went to just the local theater here. We didn't do IMAX. We didn't do anything super special. We just went down the street to the movie theater, and we had so much fun. It was like a party. We got there. It's I live in sort of a university town, so there are a lot of young people from Loyola University who are all dressed up. The 400 Theater, I think the weekend prior, had done some fun Barbie stuff. Like they had a Barbie drink, and they had a big Barbie poster on the wall that we took a picture of with you and Mom, and you and Mom dressed up in pink, and there's some nostalgia attached to it. So I know Mom in particular has a story that we'll get to later, but what's your history with Barbie, Rhyan? Or do you have a history, or what were like the kind of toys that you grew up with, I guess?
Well, I'll start with the kind of toys. The toys, my favorite toys, we had these 2 little stuffed koalas. They were so adorable. And we had a mini cast iron stove, and it had like the little cast iron pans. I mean, it's very much like, the dolls, but we used koala bears, and we made them a little house, and we made food, and we made it, that closet in the back of our room, the big room, the B&B. Tanya and I turned that into like a little doll house, and we played a lot with paper dolls, like mostly, like from all over the world. And then they had different paper dresses and costumes that we could put on them. And then Mom, your grandmother, would get us these classic kind of collectible dolls that were from around the world. And we had one that was a Russian doll that I loved. We were not allowed to have Barbie. Barbie was forbidden. And I don't know if this is going to jump ahead for you, Austin, but it was just interesting because I always thought my mom didn't want us to have Barbies because she felt they were too grown up and too sexualized. Liz, my sister, said Mom was boycotting Mattel, and that's why we couldn't have Barbies. I don't remember that part. But my best friend had a million, and she had everything. And so I always had Polly. So I always got to go to Polly's house, and we just, we always played with Barbies. So you can't prevent your kids from getting what they want.
Did you feel guilty when you're playing with the Barbies? Like you're doing something you shouldn't be doing?
It's a good question. I don't think so. I think it was just kind of fun. We did a lot. Like we got to have candy and all the things in our little more restrictive household. I got to do at Polly's. So it was always a fun place to go.
Nice.
But I don't think I had a conscience.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, since you brought it up, Rhee, let's play this piece of audio of us right when we got out of the theater. This was Mom's initial response in her story. So let's play that clip. All right, so we just got out of Barbie. Mom, what are your first thoughts?
Well, I was just saying that the opening scene, the 2001 takeoff, or when the little girls are beating the shit out of the baby dolls and like sick of being mothers, and then appears the black and white bathing suit Barbie, which is all I ever wanted as an 8-year-old little girl. And I did get emotional when I saw her standing there, because that was the doll I always wanted.
See, I never.
And you never
Oh
got
my
it?
God,
No.
I never got her. Yeah, it was a whole story. That's a whole fandango. You have to.
Because Grandma wouldn't let
Grandma
you.
was boycotting Mattel, and she didn't allow us to have Mattel toys or a Barbie. And so when I was,
So you didn't have a Barbie either, Ryan?
No, but my
but
friend
my
Polly
friends
had
all
a
had
million.
them.
Yeah, so we
but
just
they all
play
got
with
the
you.
dream houses and the dream.
Oh, you can just go play with them.
Yeah, but I wanted mine. I wanted my own. I wanted a Barbie. I wanted the Barbie house. I wanted the Barbie car. I wanted the Barbie. Everything. I didn't get any of it. Not nary a one.
But you guys thought it was really funny.
I loved it.
Oh,
Oh my
so
God, I
fun.
loved it. I
So
loved
fun.
Ryan Gosling. Was freaking brilliant. I loved Margot Robbie. I love that Helen Mirren was the narrator.
But I think
want to
it's so interesting how that did start that way, because Mom said we couldn't have the Barbie.
We can't have Barbies.
because she was too sexualized. But this totally
But that's not
flipped
why
it.
she said.
No.
But that's not why Mommy said we couldn't have it.
I didn't know that she was boycotting Mattel.
But I
always
don't
thought-
know why she boycotted Mattel.
We have to find out.
We have to know.
ask her.
Yeah, we'll have to ask
But
her.
no, but I
We were
always,
not allowed. I was not allowed to have a Barbie. That I know, or a Ken.
look at.
And I loved Ken too. I loved dolls. I
Yeah.
loved all dolls. I always loved baby dolls, and I loved being a mommy doll. So I never had a problem with that, but I wanted a Barbie in the worst way. And if you ever ask Grandma to tell you the story of what happened that one Christmas that I didn't get a Barbie, and I was beside myself because it turned out it was in a box. It was a long, thin box. Because in the early days of Barbie, she came in a long, narrow box, and I saw one under the Christmas tree, and I was like, oh my God, I got a Barbie. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't wait for Christmas morning, and I whipped through all my toys, and I kept going, where is it? Where is it? And Mom's like, what, honey? I go, the box, and it was a recorder. She had gotten me a recorder, and it was in a long, thin box.
Oh my
and
God.
I thought it was the Barbie. And I was so upset. And I Mom will tell you this, Grandma will tell you this, that I went into her room. I was so upset. And she said, I'll get you a Barbie. And I said, I will never want anything as much as I wanted that today. Anything. As I wanted that Barbie.
So that's basically it. I don't know. Should we call out Grandma? Get to the bottom of this?
It'd be surprising if she remembers why she boycotted Mattel, but I am very curious about this.
Let's do it. Call out.
You're gonna call her right now?
Yeah. Let's see if she answers.
Oh, she'll answer.
It's the call out.
Oh,
Grandma,
yes,
it's Austin.
grandson.
How are you?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, me and Rhyan and Mom just saw the Barbie movie,
Yeah.
and Mom told this story about you not getting her a Barbie for Christmas. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
What's your recollection of that Christmas
My
movie?
recollection is that it was horrible. She was so sweet with every, I love this, I love that. And then it was all over and she just was shocked. Her eyes got huge and said, where's my other package?
Oh,
It was awful. It was awful. It was the trauma of the family. It was awful.
so she seems to remember it like you were boycotting Mattel, or did you just not agree with Barbie?
I thought they were, very commercial and very, I didn't approve.
Okay, so
And
you weren't
I learned a terrible lesson at first, and
which is get your kids what they want.
sometimes it's important that you can do it. Yeah, sure, it's corroborated. It was terrible. It was the worst mother thing I ever did.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh! I'm
Wow.
sorry to bring it up then.
Whoa.
All right.
He's Austin opening the wound.
Survived because she's a strong and lovely woman.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about Barbies right now?
Well, I think they're commercial and stupid, and I don't like them. But whatever.
Okay, well, that's pretty much it, Grandma. We just wanted to get to the bottom of that story.
All right, honey. Love you.
All right, love you, Grandma. Thank you for your thoughts.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, so I was right that it was really
Yeah.
more just, philosophically, she didn't agree.
Yeah.
And a lot of those topics around commercialism is what they brought up in the movie.
Hey, Barbie. Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
This is the best day ever.
It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever. Do you guys ever think about dying?
All right, before we get too deep into this Barbie discussion, I think we should kind of explain to our audience who haven't seen it what the premise of this movie is.
Yeah, the high level idea of this movie is you got Barbie in Barbie Land, and Margot Robbie is the stereotypical Barbie. As she says, the Barbie you think of when you think of Barbie. But within Barbie Land are all the different kinds of Barbies. What do we got? We got lawyer Barbie, we got
Barbie,
President Barbie, all the different Barbies. And then you also have all the Kens, which are just there to appease the Barbies.
Yeah, they're like a subservient lower class kind of.
Yeah, they just exist to please the Barbies.
Yeah, and everything's going great in the world of Barbie until Margot Robbie's Barbie suddenly feels some kind of existential dread, and it really starts to plague her mind, and things start to not work out for her.
Yeah, and so this basically sends her on a journey to discover her counterpart, which is the girl who's playing with her in the real world.
Right. Because they're like, who's ever playing with you is having these dark thoughts and it's affecting how you are. So weird Barbie sends her on a quest to go to the real world to find who is playing with her. And Ken tags along. He kind of invites himself to go to the real world with her.
Yes.
And he has some realizations while he's there. And yeah, I'd say that's the basic premise.
Yeah.
That's what you get from the trailer.
Yeah. So, Rhyan, what were your just general feelings going into the movie? Like, what were you expecting?
Well, I gotten mixed reviews. So one of my really close friends who's a theater person and her daughters are my goddaughters, I'd asked her what she thought of it. And she was like, it had some beautiful moments, but overall it was terrible. We were really disappointed. I'm like, what? And that was like the day before I went to go see the movie. And it's like, why? It's just, just too surface, too cliche, whatever. And then another person I talked to had seen it and loved it. I just wanted to go because I knew we were doing Film with Family and I was excited about that. And it was all pink and I like pink and I'm like really into pink right now before Barbie became popular again. And
ahead of the curve.
Yeah. And so, and I love, so it was, and I know I love Margot Robbie. So I knew I was going to enjoy just, watching her perform. I didn't, I've never been a huge Ryan Gosling fan, but he did great. And so yeah, I was excited and it was nice to go, the three of us, you, me, and your mom. And I hadn't really ever been to that Davis Street Theater. And then
Oh, you mean the 400 Theater?
The 400 Theater. Yeah. So it's this kind of old, like not a fancy theater, but boy, they had a lot of alcohol. So like Austin said, they had like the Malibu Barbie drink that was pink that had tequila. And it's like, I don't need all that sweet stuff. Let's just have some tequila. So me and Liz each had a glass of tequila while we got to watch the movie. So I had mixed. Oh, and then we had been out. I've been out with some of my friends and one of them has a daughter who's probably about 8. And the one girlfriend that had seen it was like, well, so you're going to take Hannah to see the movie. And she's like, oh no. And Jenny was like, well, why not? Well, it's PG. It has swear words in it. I don't even remember it having swear words.
It's actually PG-13.
Yeah. Okay. PG-13. So she was not going to take her. And it's like in hindsight now seeing the movie, I'm going to call her and say like, Becky, Hannah should absolutely see this movie.
Yeah. The one F-bomb that they have in it, they bleep with the Mattel logo.
That's a good bit.
Yeah. No, it's I think a very acceptable film for a young person.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some adult themes in it. There's talk of genitalia, but and
patriarchy and fascism might be above the heads of some children.
But aren't cartoons always like that? I feel like as when I watch children's cartoons, that there's so much that the kids get, and then it's another layer where as an adult you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just said that, or I can't believe that this is what, whether it's like little animals and hedgehogs, they don't look like they're saying anything, but they're actually making a lot of commentary.
Yeah. I actually listened to an interview with Greta Gerwig, the director of this movie, and she was talking about how like the interviewer was asking her like if she felt like this movie is for kids, and she was just saying how like a lot of the movies and stuff she watched as a kid were like not really made for her. Like she just gravitated to like kind of older stuff, and I think kids can handle more than you think. So even if it is more mature in some of its themes, I think kids can still handle it and it's not going to destroy them.
No, because it's eye candy. I mean, the entire movie is just a bunch of yummy little pretty eye candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so fun. It's so cartoonish. And I think that the insertion of all of these deep kind of political and philosophical issues are good for kids to be exposed to.
Yes, life lessons. Well, I was remembering the other thing that I thought about the movie because I saw a trailer. And after I saw the trailer, and I think Tanya was here, I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to like this movie at all, because what the trailer did was, like you were saying, it's sort of cartoon-esque, I thought that they were literally going to be like moving like stiffly like dolls, and that they weren't really going to be people, that they were imposed in a theme. It was more like Enchanted, which is what I wanted it to be, which I love that movie too. I thought that was such a sweet movie where she's in fairyland and then she comes into a real world. Yeah, so I don't know how predisposed I was. I knew I liked Barbie, so I was excited, but I didn't know how much I was going to like it.
Yeah, I'll say that I've seen this movie twice now. The first time I saw it with my housemate, whose name is Ken.
Oh.
So I got to feel like Barbie a little bit going with my Ken. That was a lot of fun, and I kind of dressed up in some bright, colorful clothing that I had.
Nice.
I got these blue shorts that I was wearing, and this kind of pinkish shirt. But the second time I went, I just kind of dressed more plainly. It's like, I don't need to do that again. But I went with my buddy Wes last night just so I can feel fresh for this podcast. And
nice.
I liked it the first time, and I'd say I liked it even a little bit more the second time. Yeah,
that's my experience too.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, the thing that I really like about it is that it really is a comedy, and it's actually funny, which is very hard to do in 2023. You don't see movies that are comedies anymore, and this movie actually is really funny. And there is some messaging in there, but I think it's good messaging for the most part. Some of the corporate Mattel stuff kind of rubs me the wrong way, and the product placement definitely rubs me the wrong way with like Chevrolet. And the Birkenstocks is like, feels a little weird. Puts a little bit of a damper on the fun, but overall I give Barbie thumbs up.
Yeah, same. Yeah. That's how I feel too.
I was cracking up through the whole thing. Cracking up. I don't know why it was just so goofy to me and funny. And even though it was saying, partly because you've got these Barbies talking about these big, political issues. So I think maybe that's where my friend Julie and Nina and Sophia were kind of like, yeah, no, you're like, just be fun and be Barbie and be Ken, and don't go to all the commercialism and all those other places. But I thought that we kind of added a little bit of depth. But there were times when the America Ferrera character went on her, litany of how hard it is to be a woman, it's kind of like, okay.
Oh, you didn't like that?
It was fun, and I felt like what she said was accurate, but it just also felt like there's just too much complaining these days. And like, oh, I can't just be me because I have to. I think everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
How do I fit?
Yeah, I do think the message of that monologue is good, but yeah, maybe it like goes on for a little too long, maybe, or something.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. If she just had done a few of the, I have to be thin, but not too thin.
Yeah.
The tightrope balance of being a woman, but it also kind of applies to being a man as well. There's certain. Yeah. I mean, this movie's kind of just about how, well, one of its themes I feel like is like how gender roles can be constricting, and I feel like that monologue kind of speaks to that, like our expectations and our genders and stuff, and how you gotta just find the right balance of everything to be likable. And I feel like this movie is also walking that same tightrope. Like that monologue's also kind of about the movie itself, like how it has to appease so many people, has to appease women and people who don't like Barbie, has to appease Mattel. It's doing a lot of stuff, and it manages to kind of check all the boxes, which is kind of a small miracle.
Well, do you think that Greta Gerwig kind of, like, how do you guys feel about her doing it through Mattel as like a Mattel? It's, I was trying to think, like, I hadn't seen it. I didn't know Mattel was, produced it, but I figured it's like, well, somebody at Mattel is brilliant on branding, and to be able to get like Greta Gerwig in there and celebrate Barbie's whatever. I don't know what birthday it is for her, but I wonder how hard Mattel had to work to get her to want to do this.
Well, I saw an interview with Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig, and I guess Mattel came to Margot Robbie saying like, we think you would be great as Barbie for a movie. And then Margot was like, all right, but I think we should she was a big fan of Lady Bird. which we covered earlier this year on the podcast. So she went to Greta Gerwig to write it, and her husband Noah Baumbach's another good film director. They wrote it together, and through writing it, the movie, Greta Gerwig realized that she wanted to direct it. So then she had to convince Margot that she wants to direct it, and then Margot had to convince Mattel that Greta would be a good fit for directing it as well. So Margot's like kind of like this. She's a producer for this movie, and as well as starring in it. So she's like kind of like the middleman, it feels like, between Mattel and Greta, and like kind of fighting some of the fights to make the movie how Greta wanted it to be.
Right. And what if somebody else had been like directing? I mean, that Margot was like, okay, I'm not going to let this be turned into like a complete fluff piece and Barbie just being Barbie. I mean, I don't know if when they talked about it, if they knew what they were going to make.
Well, they actually started talking about the creation of this film in 2008. Okay. And it traded hands all the way up until now. And I think Amy Schumer was going to be kind of the central star of the film for a little bit, but then she dropped out. It was going to be a Universal film. It was going to be a Sony film. And then Warner Brothers ended up picking it up. And so it's been bandied about for a long time. And I think it's so great that it got in the right hands, because I think in the wrong hands, they could have just made this like a Barbie Saturday morning special kind of movie. But instead, they decided to really go deep into the whole concept of Barbie and what it represents. And it's a high wire act that they were doing, because how do you take this very corporate cultural icon,
kind of divisive as well,
very divisive, and be able to appease kind of everyone? You know, the majority of young people that are going to be seeing this have already in their head that Barbie is like a negative impact on feminism.
Well, I know when those little girls were talking to her, it's like, Barbie? Who wants a Barbie?
Yeah. And they called her a fascist.
Yeah, I think all
they're like, destroyer. Just fucking unleashes like every criticism that people have against Barbie in a really succinct and funny way. Yeah, and then ending it with calling her a fascist, and then that's the first time Barbie's character cries is just from getting just berated like that.
And she's like, I don't control commerce. I don't control the railways.
I'm not a fascist. Yeah, that line's really funny.
Well, and what I do think it's really interesting what I was saying, like when Lizzie was saying about how she wanted that Barbie so bad. I never thought about the way that boys get cars and trucks and girls, now as an adult, but seeing it portrayed in the beginning of the movie made it so clear that, it's also, these are socializing us to be in the roles that society says that we should all be in. And then there was Barbie being this, I didn't take it deep. It's just like, she's a pretty lady who has fun clothes and, cool cars. And that's, that was fun for me. But now it's like, oh yeah, she had all those professional kind of iterations and was independent. And, maybe this goes back to like being raised as a Quaker and, like those, I always have liked like pretty clothes and, makeup, but even though I don't wear it, all those things. But maybe because she wasn't in my house, it wasn't like, I didn't feel devastated about it the way Liz did. I don't think I ever really thought that I wanted a Barbie. I mean, I may not remember, because if Lizzie wanted it, then I should have wanted it, kind of thing, because she was my big sister. But no, I kind of wish that we had Barbies, because maybe, I don't know. I think I kind of turned out more like Barbie in the sense of not having kids and not, having, a partner and all that kind of stuff, and just, being your own independent self and a working woman.
Yeah.
Well, I've always thought of you as a Barbie. So
stereotypical Barbie.
whatever you want to be, Rhyan. Barbie you want to be.
Zweifler Barbie.
Zweifler Barbie. Well, it's just so crazy that she was born the same year as me. I mean, we're the exact same age.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, 1959. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she's as old as me. And then I know were you there when we found out that her middle name is Millicent?
Barbie's
What?
middle name?
Yes, it's Barbara Millicent
Roberts,
Ross,
right?
maybe, or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, she has a full name, but so for the audience, Millicent is my mother, their grandmother's middle name, Ruth Millicent. So John found that out. We're like, what? How could she have Millicent? So
And Ruth Handler, the creator
is
of
Ruth.
Barbie.
Is your creator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved her character too. I thought she was so, I don't know. I love
Maybe you are Barbie. Both created by a Ruth in 1959. Wow.
Yeah, maybe
Well,
I knew this would be the perfect movie for you.
You're a genius, Austin.
He's a genius.
The Oppenheimers of the podcast world.
Well, I'm most mad at myself because I had been at like a vintage fair earlier in the day and I tried on this adorable little pink and white checkered dress that I didn't get, which once I got to the theater, it's like, why didn't I get that dress? It's almost exactly like the pink and white checkered dress that she comes out in. But the one I tried on didn't have the flared skirt. It was just more straight, but it would have been perfect.
I love how this movie just became like an instant event, a cultural event, and how everyone dressed up for it. And like, even, we saw it a week after it opened and we were in a packed theater. People were filing in during the opening credits, all dressed up in pink dresses. And I'm trying to remember the last time that I went to a movie where everyone was like so excited to see it, like actually like making a weekend evening out of seeing this movie.
Yeah.
Well, and Austin had asked me when was the last time in the movie theater I was in a movie theater. I can't even remember. I haven't been to the movies in forever. And the theater.
Yeah, John was the same way.
Yeah. I mean, it's been at least, I'm sure, before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm lying. I went to see what was the movie that I'm going to take us off track? The Kenneth Branagh movie.
Oh,
where he's in Ireland and it's the wartime with the mom.
Yeah, I didn't see that. But
Belfast.
That's Belfast. You didn't see that, Zach?
I missed Belfast.
Oh, well, I love that movie. But anyway, I did see that in the movie. Another really funky art theater house, like, didn't even have seats. It just had like chairs and little like, love seats that were old furniture from everybody else, which is a fun way to see a movie. But the nice thing, Austin wanted us to go to the 400 theater because it's been sort of at risk of closing.
Yeah.
And so then to see it so sold out and vibrant,
Yeah. I mean, I was considering that because it's like, with the whole Barbenheimer thing, Music Box has been showing Oppenheimer in 70 millimeter. And up until I think yesterday, every single screening has been sold out. And, you've got this little theater, the 400 theater, that's been really, really struggling. It's one of the oldest theaters in Chicago. And, every screening of Barbie is selling out. And so this has got to be such a great boost for them, just to get people excited about seeing a movie. I mean, it's really a great thing.
Yeah, there's not too many movies that feel like women feel like can go out to the theaters and feel like it's like for them, but
yeah,
feels like Barbie's kind of filling that role. And it turns out they'll go to the movie theaters if they feel like it's something that they wanna see.
Yeah.
So
How
that's
did
cool.
you guys feel about the portrayal of the Kens? Because there was another friend who has a son, and she felt like it was really diminishing of men and just concerned about how so many young men are just lost and don't know what they're doing. And it made her sad, actually, the way the men were portrayed. I was just cracking up. I mean, I love the dance. I was like, you guys go do your thing.
Yeah.
I don't know did you guys feel like it was, diminishing of men or like anti-male?
I didn't think that.
Well, that's certainly the Ben Shapiro right wing sort of outrage about this movie, because
the men rights outrage.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's complete bullshit. I mean, this is a satirical film about Barbie, and Ken is a superfluous,
that's right,
like accessory to Barbie.
And yeah, I think the Ken representation really surprised me the first time I saw it, because yeah, you do think like it's gonna be mostly about Barbie. Ken's just gonna be there sometimes, but he really is kind of half the movie, which I think maybe some women are like, there's too much Ken. But I guess like kind of the core of feminism is that men and women are equal. So
Exactly.
for it to be a truly feminist movie, I think it makes sense that it's kind of like half about the men and half about the women. And yeah, I thought it was actually pretty well done, and Ryan Gosling is hilarious. He's kind of he gets all the best lines, and he does. I don't know. I'm a Gosling fan anyway, but I was very impressed with how good he was in this, and him singing "Push" when they're on the beach together.
Yes. Yeah.
God, what a great choice of all the like random masculine 90s hits that you could have picked. It's like, let's go with Rob Thomas's Push by Matchbox 20. I hadn't even thought of that song for probably over a decade.
And the lyrics are really appropriate, like to the themes of the movie, like the idea of like, I want to take you for granted and all that, because Barbie takes Ken for granted. And I don't know. I think it works on many levels. Another song I like that they use in this movie is Closer to Find by Indigo Girls, which is the song they listen to whenever they're traveling to and from the real world in Barbie's little pink car. I went to the doctor.
I went to the mountain. Yeah, no, it's
she
a
does
great
that perfect thing with her finger. Fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get what that was. It's just maybe it's the Indigo Girls. Is it because it's like a real girl song, or like why? I wonder why they chose that. Like,
yeah, I think it's kind of a feminist anthem, just like conjures images of like Lilith Fair and kind of 90s feminism. I don't know.
Yeah, and it fits in with the 90s of the Matchbox 20 too. And the Matchbox 20 song kind of reminded me of the use of Crash by Dave Matthews Band and Lady Bird.
Yes.
I was like getting some flashbacks to that.
Yes, good callback. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's been some really interesting needle drops in the films that we've been seeing this year. Like, I think of like Beau is Afraid with Always Be My Baby. And
yeah, it's like kind of like the nostalgia for like 90s and early 2000s kind of pop songs.
Yeah, but they become these like centerpieces of the film. But yeah, no, but I did like the modern songs too. I thought like the Dua Lipa track is really great. I thought the Lizzo, like the Pink track, was really great. And I liked how they altered the Pink song when after she gets her thoughts of death, and then she does the same routine, but everything is like bad, like the fake water is cold and her waffle is burnt, and then like
she falls off the roof.
Yeah it was like in the first one they're like, K cool, and then this one they're like, K death.
Yeah that was very fun.
I like the part too where she's like, because that is such a significant characteristic of Barbie, that she was always, her feet fit perfectly into high heels. And so she stood on her toes. And then they're like, flat feet, you're walking. Oh my God, I don't know. There was so many funny parts in it.
Yeah, you almost did a spit take at one point.
I did do because I had just taken a sip of that crazy tequila. And it was when the guy smashes her on her butt, and she so fast turns around and smacks him in the face. I wasn't really expecting it, I guess. And I was just kind of like, maybe I was like distracted. I'm just taking a sip of my drink, and I saw that. It was just like I could not. It almost came out my nose.
Yeah.
Why I thought it was so funny. I just, maybe that was like, as a woman, just thinking about the women being able to respond to the bad, to the condescending male behavior in a way that was, equal and powerful, was kind of fun.
Yeah, I do like that in that same scene where, Barbie and Ken are now in Los Angeles in the real world. And Ken is like soaking up like how everybody's looking at him, and he's like, they're admiring me, and there's no undertone of violence at all. Barbie's like, there's undertone of violence for me for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like the kind of heavy-handed dialogue like that, where they're just like really spelling out all of those kind of issues, because I think any other way, if they were just trying to make it be subtle, it probably wouldn't have landed because of how cartoonish everything is. So it's like, yeah, why not just be over the top with everything?
Yeah.
And I like how they're like, she goes over the construction workers and she's like, oh, these guys will help. And he's like, hey, you want some fries or that shake?
Yeah.
And she's like, we don't have any genitals. And they're like, all right.
Well, one guy says that's okay, which I thought, which is really funny.
And then Ryan Gosling's like, I have all the genitals.
He was so good. Just, I loved his fur coat and
Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Oh yeah. That was the best. I got my Mojo. Do it again, Mojo.
Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Yeah.
He's like, doesn't it just sound great?
It's like, just try it, say it.
Yeah.
It does sound great. My Mojo Dojo Casa House. Like his delivery on pretty much every line is just flawless. Like there's one line, I forget what he says, but like Barbie makes some sort of joke and he's like, ah, 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 ah. Like the way he laughs is so good.
Yeah.
Like there's one bit where like he says bye to Barbie and he's like, bye, goodbye, or like he like says like bye twice in this really awkward way that I really liked.
Yeah, it's so good.
But Margot Robbie is good too. She does a great job.
I can't imagine anybody else doing it. Like honestly, she is perfect. I mean, she's an incredible actress to start with, but she's also like one of the most beautiful people on earth. So it makes sense that you would have somebody who is like an idealized form of beauty be an icon for idealistic beauty.
Yeah, one of the biggest laughs in the theater the second time I saw it was when like she's like really down in the dumps and like she's like not wearing makeup anymore and saying how she's ugly now, and like the narrator's like, the director would like to note you shouldn't cast Margot Robbie to make this point.
That was so perfect.
That got a huge laugh.
Oh yeah.
Well, how do you guys feel about the Mattel like scenes, or like Will Ferrell's like the head of Mattel? Like, how do you feel like about that whole arc?
Well, I felt like it was kind of refreshing that everybody was poking fun at themselves. I mean, I think they're all like, the Kens are, kind of complete, potentially the worst traits of men, theoretically, maybe the worst traits of women, all about beauty and, all these things, and the corporate world, they were just all caricatures. Yeah. And so I appreciated that in some ways they were willing to poke fun at themselves, but I don't know enough about how much they controlled the script. I did see something where Greta Gerwig said she was surprised that they let her keep in that fascist comment. And that Mattel wanted to take it out, but at the end of the day, they didn't take it out. She said, I guess I just wanted it in more than they wanted it out. So maybe they weren't super heavy-handed with her. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that the Mattel corporate stuff, the Will Ferrell stuff, is definitely the weakest part of the film. And, it's like Will Ferrell, I love Will Ferrell, but I felt like this was one of his most unfunny roles. Like,
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think any of his jokes were really landing. I liked that one part was like, even some of my friends are Jewish. He's like, I'm a mother of a son, or whatever. He's like, when he's doing all that bit. I thought that was kind of funny. Will Ferrell is great, pretty much whatever he does. But I think there's something about his role in this one that I didn't really love that much. But I did think that it was interesting because it's like in the Lego movie, he's the corporate guy, right?
Yeah.
And then also this movie is very elf-like. You're in this fantasy world and then you go into the real world.
Alpha's kind of like a Barbie figure and how innocent he is, and he doesn't know anything.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I almost wanted to rewatch the Lego movie in preparation for this, but I didn't get around to it because the success of that movie, I feel like maybe inspired Mattel, like we should make a Barbie movie.
Yeah. It's similar.
Yeah. personally, I thought Will Ferrell was funny in this movie. I feel like he hasn't been funny for a while, but I actually thought he was funny in this.
Mm-hmm.
So I got an opposite take there from you. I really liked when he was talking about Barbie Land. He's like, think of it as like a town in Sweden.
Sweden.
And it is like also like, you can give that to me, EOD. That's on a day. It's cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe he is funny. I did like the when he's like patting everybody, like when she makes some kind of joke, and then and then he's just like slapping everybody around. Or the Midge comment at the end is really funny. He was like, "God, Midge, we discontinued you."
Yeah,
it was like the pregnant Barbie like freaked him out.
Yeah, that was a really funny callback. And yeah, I feel like he got a chance to do his classic Will Ferrell screaming. He's like, "This is catastrophic,"
and he's just like has drumsticks for no reason.
That was a weird part of the thing. And it's like when you say that, Austin, how it was the dullest part of the movie, which it was. And when you think about how colorful it's probably intentional to a certain extent, because corporate America is stupid and boring, to my mind. Like being in the boardroom and all the guys, and it's like, okay. Yeah, but the wanting to put her back in the box, I thought that was really profound. To me, that was the most profound imagery of all the other stuff, like the fascist and your commercial. It's just like, put her back in the box. And she almost went in the box, right? She's like, okay, I'll go in and I'll be tied down to your way of like keeping me safe.
Yeah.
But that felt, to me, that's probably all they would have had to say about any of it, is just trying to put me in a box.
Yeah, the twist ties. There was something very ominous about those twist ties.
Yeah, I did not like that at all.
Yeah.
Don't be putting Barbie back in the box.
Yeah, don't do it, Will.
No.
Yeah, the chase scene that goes after that, I feel like is like the worst part of the movie, or just like the car chase. Like I felt like that was I was not into that, and the very prominent Chevrolet branding everywhere just felt gross. I can handle the Mattel stuff, but once you're adding like Chevrolet and other stuff on top of it, it just like rubs me the wrong way a bit.
I agree.
Wait, what about those images, like when they kept going through when they were going to the real world and then coming back from the real world, like they're on the bike and they're on the boat and they're on the plane and all those cute little costumes, and then they did it in reverse. I thought those scenes were interesting. They felt very much like live theater to me, because it wasn't, they weren't on any of those things. It was all created.
Yeah, no, that's all practical effects. They had like painted backgrounds, and like, like the waves were like cellophane on a wheel that they were like cranking, and it looked beautiful, I think. But there was a lot of criticism that it looked a lot like some scenes in Beau is Afraid, the Ari Aster movie that came out this year as well, which just adds on to our theory that all movies this year are linked in some way.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallel thinking going on in films that came out this year.
Yeah.
But I really love the production design of Barbie Land, and I think that was a big part of what made Greta excited to make this movie, is to do like practical filmmaking like they would when like she like references like a lot of soundstage musicals like American in Paris and Singing in the Rain and Oklahoma as inspirations for this movie. And I like how everything is fucking manufactured and there's no green screen. It's all matte painting backgrounds and using rear projection kind of stuff like we were talking about in the 2001 episode. And we love it. We love to see practical filmmaking, and she pulled it off in this big blockbuster is good for her.
Well, it's like it kind of reminds you almost of a long music video, like MTV.
Going back to it does have that like 80s 90s feel. I think actually the branding of everything is like the Barbie branding from like the mid 70s to the early 90s, so it's like they're really kind of like honing in on that aspect of like of the Barbie world. And yes, I mean, obviously I never really played with the toys, but all of the discontinued Barbies, Allan, who's one of my favorite characters. Michael Cera killing it as usual.
Well, that's one of the comments that I read, that women are all pissed off that it's all about women, but Allan is like pretty much everybody's favorite. Because he's an other, right? He's like when Austin and I were falling talking.
Foreshadow.
A little bit about, okay, we can say she, he, or I, maybe now we just say Barbie and Ken. But then there were still the others, and how did they fit in? Not everybody was right in the Barbie Ken kind of construct. But what about Weird Barbie? So I forgot that people, like girls, what did you do with your trolls too? Like I didn't even put that together until this other girl that I was talking to saw. She goes, "Didn't you love Weird Barbie?" She's always in the splits, which that's how girls would leave her. They'd cut off her hair. They'd like put all those, some brother, little sister would mess up their doll and draw on the face, and then the kid would get all upset. It's like, that's Weird Barbie. Yeah.
I love the montage of like showing how Weird Barbie was created, and like the kid like fucking with her and like burning her hair. That was like a really funny little montage they did to establish Weird Barbie, which I thought was really good, really effective.
And I saw a little Easter egg thing, and if you look during that sequence, there's like these tiles in the background that spell out Gloria, which is America Ferrera's character's name. So that little girl is supposed to be America Ferrera's character making the Weird Barbie. So that's why when she goes to the Weird Barbie house, she's like, "Oh my God, Weird Barbie."
Yeah.
I love Weird Barbie's house too.
I smell like basement.
It reminded me very much of Pee-wee's Playhouse, which is a show I watched a lot as a kid. R.I.P. Paul Rubens.
Oh yes, Paul Rubens died today.
Yes, today.
Yeah,
wow.
R.I.P. But I guess Pee-wee's Big Adventure was an influence on Greta as well. She cited that as a reference for this movie, which I've never seen, surprisingly, even though I love Pee-wee's Playhouse. So I need to watch that movie. But
I've seen it, and you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, just the way Weird Barbie's house looked really reminded me of the Pee-wee Playhouse set.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was definitely a direct inspiration.
I feel like Weird Barbie, if it was really true to Weird Barbie, she wouldn't be wearing any clothes at all, though, and she'd just be completely bald. I feel like
that's true.
I feel like that's how most Weird Barbies are. They're just completely naked and But I thought Kate McKinnon did a good job. Sometimes I'm not always on board with her in movies, but I thought she did a good performance. And I like the whole like Matrix scene of like you got to choose between the two different shoes, which is like the Morpheus and Neo scene from the Matrix with the blue pill and the red pill.
What do I have to do? You have to go to the real world.
You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel. You have to want to know, okay? Do it again.
Well, it was interesting too how they brought in like the owners. I forgot about that whole part with the daughter and America Ferrera, and how they are the real world, and Barbie had to find her owner who created her, and like the same owner that created the Weird Barbie, and why was she like that? So that was kind of an interesting way to think about, while they were in a fantasy land, it's almost like, that double entendre of you're looking in a mirror into a mirror or something like that. Because like, okay, it's already fantasy, and America Ferrera's in this fantasy place to a certain extent, but she's real, and she owned a Barbie, and she's a real person.
Yeah. And then when the whole depression Barbie sequence. When Margot Robbie starts feeling feelings, and then all of a sudden in the real world, there's a depression Barbie who just like sits in her sweatpants and watches the BBC Pride and Prejudice.
Eating like a family-sized bag of Starburst or something like that. It was really funny, little fake commercial.
Yeah. And so obviously that's not a real Barbie, but the Mojo Dojo Casa house was fake too, right? Like that was just invented for this movie. That wasn't a real thing.
Yeah, I think so.
I know
Allan was real, and like the pooping dog, that's real.
Yeah. but those two things, they're like the kind of the glitch in the matrix, right? So, or it's like a weird butterfly effect. Like when they go back to Barbie land and Barbie's depressed, Ken has the Mojo Dojo Casa house, and then somehow that creates those products in the real world, right?
Mhm.
It's like a reverse effect.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because they have a scene of like them like these Mojo Dojo Casa houses are flying off the shelves. People can't get enough of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Will Ferrell doesn't care because he's really passionate about little girls' dreams and hopes, and
Yeah.
it's not just all about the money for him. It's like he really does like that Barbie should be the focus and Ken shouldn't matter.
In the least creepy way possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a few examples of people saying this movie's anti-man, but I feel like there's plenty of examples in the movie of men just being nicer or not as awful as you'd expect. Or like
Yeah.
Allan's a good example of that, like of not being like a traditional bro. And I feel like Will Ferrell's character, he's sympathetic to the female cause. There's a lot of kind of feminist leaning men in the movie.
Well, even in a way, Ken was, because he did basically everything that Barbie told him to do.
Mhm.
You know, she didn't even want him to come with her. It's like, why are you here? Like, why are you in, he's just like tagging along with her on her adventures. And she's like, well, if you want to come, okay, I guess, but why? And then that whole thing, like, can I spend the night at your house?
She's like,
What-
no, I'm having a big blowout party with my friends.
But remember in the end, and she kind of goes, but well, why? What would we do?
Mhm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
like,
He's
like, well, I don't know. What would we do? Well, I don't know. Then I guess not.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
an interesting choice that stereotypical Barbie doesn't care about Ken at all. I was like, that's kind of an interesting decision. I was kind of surprised by that because you think stereotypical Barbie would love Ken.
Mhm.
But from the get-go, she doesn't give a shit about him.
She doesn't. Yeah, it's just like a completely like, I got my Barbies. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of times with women like that. So it's like, I just want to be with my girls, and
Mhm.
didn't they do a sequence around girls' night out in the movie? Am I just making that up in my head?
Well, they had like a girls' party, like they had a
Yes,
slumber
yeah.
party when she
Yeah.
says like, "Oh no, I don't want you to be here," and then
He's
all
there.
the other Barbies are in there partying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every night is girls' night in Barbie
Yes.
Land.
Yeah.
But then when it flips, when we're in the Kendom,
Mhm, yeah.
Ken land, he has like a party with his Ken bros, and they're God. Can we just talk about Kendom, because that was such a funny. The first time I saw it, second time was even funnier when they're just like, "Brewski beers, anybody?" Like, and like everything. This is like horses everywhere. I was like, the Nobel Prize in horses goes to Ken. It's just so silly.
But yeah, he was like when he's telling the other Kens, like at first I thought men and horses ruled the world, but it turns out horses are just men extenders. And then they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, and their dance, that dance was awesome. And again, it was so cool how there was nothing there, it was just them dancing. And no, there were some things that they did just from a setting that was so different and kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's very
that's
Grease lightning.
It's probably going to be turned into like a musical, right? Or a play. Because it would be easy to turn it into a play.
Yeah, it's very theatrical, it's very musical.
I'm Just Ken's song is a banger. And
Great.
Yeah, that's just a really cool little dance set piece with all the Kens and all dressed in black, and it's really funny at the same time. A really cool set. I was really vibing with that whole bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do like a quick like rock paper scissors in the middle of it.
Yeah, and then there's like that where he like grabs two Ken's hands and they like come in and he like kiss him on the cheek and he's like, he's just so happy.
Yeah, like through the song they like realize that like, hey, we kind of love each other. We don't need the
Barbies, and the Barbies don't need us.
To just kind of show that it's like it shouldn't be lopsided one way or the other. It should be equal.
Yeah, because then there'll always the other group is just gonna feel less than, and then they're gonna there's going to be resentment, which is what Ken has at the beginning of the movie, is so much resentment. And it's kind of an empathetic view of incels. Incel Ken.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. I mean, because he has that line where he's like, "Doesn't feel so good when it happens to you," right? You know.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, Barbie apologizes, and it seems like they're trying to build a more co-equal world afterwards. You know, and
Well, no, I saw another comment that was said that, oh, well, Barbie apologizes, but Ken doesn't. And that's like way anti-feminist. Like, why didn't Ken apologize?
Yeah, nobody apologizes to Barbie throughout the whole movie, even though a lot of people are rude to her.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Not really sure how to react to that, but yeah.
I mean, it's funny what people notice. Like, like, can you just go and watch a fun movie? And I know that it wanted to, spark some dialogue and all those kinds of things, but it was also just a really fun, entertaining film.
Yeah.
So it's more kind of fun to watch it that way. I think that's what I was saying. Did it need to have like the America Ferrera speech in it? Could it have been more just subtle? Because Justin being what it was making a pretty loud statement.
Yeah, but I think that it was just a way to deprogram the Barbies to give them their autonomy. I think it was just a kind of a device. But a lot of people I'm seeing like posting that whole speech up on Facebook. It means and that's like where people start crying, and it does speak to a lot of people. And I think that it is like sometimes you need that. Like you need somebody to really spell out like every single contradiction, and leave it to Greta Gerwig to do it kind of flawlessly.
Yeah.
I heard in an interview that she said that like everybody on set was crying when they were like shooting that scene. Or like it was like powerful in the room, like America Ferrera doing that speech. So I mean, there is definitely some power to it. I will say that this movie didn't make me tear up or cry at any point, which Greta Gerwig's other movies, Little Women and Lady Bird, they both get me to tear up, but this one didn't. But this one made me laugh a lot more too. So
yeah. There was something I wasn't emotional at all the first time I saw it, but there was something about seeing it with you and Mom, Rhyan, that like when that first scene was happening and they reveal the giant Barbie, and my mom even says in that clip that she was getting emotional during that part, and I think I was like picking up on that energy for some reason, like that very beginning with the Lizzo sequence, and just. I don't know. There's something sort of bittersweet about it. Like, trying to build this like feminine utopia, and, them kind of satirizing is like, and everything's perfect. And it's like, nothing is like this, it's not like this at all. And, and I do like the speech because at the very end of it, it's like, if all of these contradictions also apply to a doll, then like, what does that say about little girls, women, like that they have to do that. If a doll can't even get past all of these contradictions, then, where are we as a society? Which I think is a really, again, like a really smart way to, use this IP that could have just been a totally vapid, dumb, like animated Trolls type movie, but they just went full on into like the adult themes of it, and I just think that it was just so well done.
Yeah, Barbie, like this movie should have been terrible. When the idea of a Barbie movie just sounds like a bad idea, but movie's way better than it deserves to be. And
so when you guys first heard about it, did you want to go, or was your first reaction like, I'm not going to go see Barbie movie?
Well, I wanted to go just because I saw Greta Gerwig was attached, and I already liked her previous two movies. So I was like, I'm very curious about this just because she's involved. Which I hear now that her next project is 2 Chronicles of Narnia movies, which I'm very not into. I'm very disappointed in that.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? What? I love that book.
I mean, she'll probably do the best versions of those books that could ever be done, but I wish she would just go back to doing something original and not just adapting something like that. Because Lady Bird's still my favorite of her movies, and I'd rank Little Women over this as well. But
I was wondering how you would rank it of all the movies you've seen of hers.
Yeah, it's just those three, and I'd rank this on the bottom still, but it's still very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a limitation of how much I could love like a product movie like this.
Yeah,
and I kind of like likened it to like a really good pop song. Like I'll still appreciate its craft and how catchy it is, but I won't love it as much as I love just like a non-pop song, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of the hipster in me, maybe.
Well, that's why I say like MTV Video, it just had the splash and sparkle and
the all the pop artists in it as well.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't cry. There was nothing in it that made me want to cry. I think, like you said, Lizzie kind of felt sad when I didn't know that was the exact Barbie she wanted, that original Barbie. But my other friend just said, I just made me sad because I realized, we really haven't come that far. She felt that it made it realize that we haven't evolved as a society around this stuff much at all.
Yeah, I mean, there is something, like I said, bittersweet about that opening monologue or that opening sequence montage of, all women Supreme Court and, like women having all the power, all the men being subservient to the women, kind of flip of what we have right now. I think the movie ends with saying that we should all be equal.
Though even the Kens just get like one of like the court seats and like local or something.
Yeah, they're like, we'll start small.
And that's the way they win.
And eventually they'll have as much power as women do in our society or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's a real tactic that we've seen unfortunately work.
Yeah, and I agree, Zach. I mean, especially the first time I saw it, I really couldn't get over just the corporate stench on the film, like just the product placement and just the Mattel logo on everything, and like actually like showing the Mattel headquarters. But again, I think that Greta Gerwig did a really great job of making it kind of like a postmodern meta critique on, like an American pop culture figure. She admitted that it's a product, but actually showed all the different sides of it, not just like the superficial part of it.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Rhyan, so you lived in LA for a little bit. Did you ever go to Century City?
Oh yeah.
What is Century City? I don't really know it that well. What is it's just like a kind of a giant shopping mall kind of place?
It's so funny that it's even called Century City because it's basically like a boulevard. It's a big boulevard and really tall, LA buildings, but LA isn't like Philadelphia is really narrow. The streets are really narrow. The buildings, when you're walking down a street in Philadelphia, the sun can't come in. When you're walking down the street in LA, there's so much space. So the streets are wide. There are at least 2 lanes each way, and there's big sidewalks. When I think of Century City, I actually do think of a lot of space and vastness, but tall buildings. And there is a shopping center there, but it's more, I think Hollywood stuff happens there. I worked in an office building in Century City, and it just, it's like, why is this called Century City? But yeah, it's more maybe corporate looking than a lot of other parts of LA.
Even though I've never been there, I just thought it was so funny where like Ryan Gosling's like, the world's got to be like Century City. like it's a utopia.
Yeah, it's clean, it's big, it's wide, every like fancy cars and the whole 9 yards. But it is unique in that, the neighborhoods, a lot of them, it's just, they're not tall buildings. You have some tall buildings downtown, but what about when those guys were rollerblading when they first got to Venice? Like that was so fun. It's like, they're on Venice Beach. How fun.
Yeah, like the outfits are just outstanding.
And why is everybody staring at us? They're like, let's look at what you're wearing.
Yeah, like the rule, like to like from traveling to Barbie world. It's like it always starts with rollerblades or something.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you guys this real quick. When Ryan Gosling was asked to play the part, he was considering it, and then he saw his daughter had discarded this Ken like in the mud, face down, next to like this like discarded orange peel, and then he like texted Greta Gerwig that photo, and he was like, "I will be your Ken. His story needs to be told."
Oh, so that's a real image that he had in his yard? Oh,
Yeah.
how weird is that?
Yeah, like his daughter had like thrown this Ken doll like in the mud, and he's like, "I shall be your Ken."
I love that.
That's going to be great for our podcast listeners.
I know.
Yeah, we'll put it on the Instagram.
Face down, yeah. Put it on the cover.
Look it up. Look it up.
Look up. It's a good picture.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to go around, like maybe say like your favorite scene and like your final thoughts kind of thing?
Sure, Rhyan, you can go first.
Well, interesting. Okay, my favorite scene, maybe it was the opening, with the girl smashing the dolls, and then
the 2001
and then
Odyssey.
Barbie, showing up in all her glory. I thought that was just that definitely stood out to me. And then the Ken dance. I loved the Ken dance.
The Just Ken.
The beach off.
Overall, what were your feelings about the movie?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I mean, I thought it was so funny. I don't laugh that much. It's hard for me to get a joke, and it's hard for me to just laugh. But I have not laughed that much in a long time. But the whole night was fun. No, it was just fun. I just think it was a really fun and clever, fun to watch, interesting content. I loved
Great
it.
vibe in the theater.
Oh, so yeah.
Everybody's just wall to wall laughs. Not a single joke was missed. Like everybody was just cracking up the whole way.
Yeah, we had a good group.
Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, I would say, to be honest, when I found out the patriarchy wasn't about horses, I lost interest. I thought that was a great line. Her being his long-term, long-distance, low-commitment, casual girlfriend.
Yes, that was good. That was good. Yeah,
the male dream.
Yeah, there's just so many great lines, and yeah, like in serious, and I think lines that will be long-lasting for the generation of kids that will probably be watching this movie over and over. But like, Barbie saying that she wants to be a part of the people that make the meaning and not the thing that's made, and Rhea Perlman's character saying like ideas live forever. Those are just like, just kind of like classic Gerwig, Baumbach, like thinker lines. You just can, they just have so much depth in like the one line. Or there's the other line, either you're brainwashed or you're ugly, there's no in between. And then Kate McKinnon's like, sing it, sister. The bon voyage to reality and good luck restoring the membrane between our world and theirs so you don't get cellulite.
Oh, the cellulite stuff. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, you've got cellulite.
Yeah. I just thought that was really funny. The beach off, not so funny. And it was like, I didn't know about the beach off part.
What I'm saying, I want to beat you off.
Yeah. I was just kind of like, yeah, all right.
I like that. It made me laugh.
Okay.
I did think like the one joke about like the Zack Snyder cut of like Justice League, that felt like a little bit of a groaner to me or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like too topical of a reference or something. I don't know.
Yeah, again, going to like the toys that make up the world, like the ambulance that drives in and then folds out, like the hospital. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I felt like some Wes Anderson shit.
And then, so the specific color of pink that they use in this movie is called Pantone 219C. And they used so much pink on this set that it caused an international shortage of pink paint.
No.
Yes. So there's that.
A little problematic.
Yeah. They stole all the pink. Last thought I want to ask you guys about is what did we think about the white box scene with Ruth Handler and them like kind of talking and the Billie Eilish music coming in with like all of like the home movie video montage?
Oh yeah, that didn't really work for me.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a downer. Like, but even though there were some great lines in that scene, I just thought that I was like, why are we showing this home movie footage?
Yeah, it didn't work for me. Maybe it made some people emotional. It felt like I was trying too hard to make me feel emotional.
Yeah.
But I will say, we didn't mention this, but this movie has one of the best mic drop endings I've seen in a long time, where she goes to the gynecologist.
Yeah.
And it's kind of amazing that that's actually the last line of the movie, is like her getting a vagina. Like that Mattel signed off on that is incredible. Yeah,
Surely.
Oppenheimer and this movie both have some good mic drop endings. This one has the better one, I would say. And the first time I saw it, the biggest laugh of the whole movie was that last line. There was like the audience just like roared like after that, and then like you get the Barbie Girl by Aqua remix right after it, and like it hits so good. Great ending.
Nicki Minaj, who went by Barbie for a long time in her early career.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize that. Very appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's so many great lines in the movie. I just think it's so, the sets and the colors and the acting. Ryan Gosling is amazing, especially in my second viewing of it with you guys. Just totally smashed my expectations for this movie, and now is, I would say, top 3 of the year for me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, I really, really like it. I think it's going to have a lot of lasting power in a way, like the colors, the Technicolor stuff, and just like the succinctness of the story and how it's just a very well constructed script. It does remind me of like a 90s comedy like Billy Madison or something like that, where it's just like, here's the setup. We're going to go to this place. We're going to come back. Things are going to be different. We're going to try to fix it. It's very like beat for beat, kind of a classic 90s film. And yeah, I think that this movie is it's like an instant classic. And beach.
Yeah.
In summary, beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I agree with you guys. This is a good time at the movies. This is a really funny movie. I like how playful it is. Like I like how like when like Ken like hits the wave at the beginning of the movie, how he like flies up in the air, and it's just like, you know how you play with like toys when you're a kid, like when they fly in the air, they're kind of like slowly rotating like that, and just like, and I feel like it really captured like how you play with the toys, and in a fun visual way. And yeah, I liked all the dumb little rules of the world. And, you know, Ken's great. Margot Robbie's great. I love Allan. One of my favorite Allan lines is right before he has his big fight scene where he beats up all the construction workers that are building a wall vertically, which is a very funny bit. He tells the girls in the car, like, be ready for anything.
Yeah, he's like, keep it singing.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny. And then he just beats the shit out of him. I was cracking up in that scene. Yeah, another good line is like, I think the daughter of America Ferrera's character Gloria, like she says at one point, it's like, do giant hands come down and play with you? And Barb's like, no, that's crazy. But I'm like that. Yeah. I feel like that was like probably like maybe an idea they had at the beginning. But I love how they do treat it, the Barbie world, and like how she like kind of floats down from the balcony. I don't know. There's so many cool little touches like that throughout the movie that just make it a joy to watch. It's a lot of fun. I feel like maybe there is some value to the critique of maybe there's like too many like ideas in it, or like maybe like it kind of gets a little confused. But I think that's kind of the point. It's like women are complicated. This movie's complicated. There's contradictions, and you know, you gotta You got to be accepting of the contradictions, and you know, you can't be perfect. This movie isn't perfect, so I think that's it lives up to those ideals. That trying to be a perfect person is it's not possible. And also, crying is a beautiful thing. I really noticed how many times Barbie cries in this movie and Ken cries. Like, this movie's kind of like about like, hey, it's good to cry, let your emotions out. One scene we didn't talk about is her sitting on the bench, and she's like kind of like looking at the real world for the first time and seeing like these scenes of people in the park, like some like a dude's depressed and like a breakup's happening, but there's also like nice like things happening as well, and she's like taking in like the happiness and the sadness. And I think that's a really nice little scene that kind of shows and doesn't tell what she's feeling. And Margot Robbie's doing a great job of expressing that with her face. Yeah, lots of good stuff like that. Good movie.
Well, I definitely want to see it again. I know that.
Yeah, and there's that one kind of really sweet scene where she turns and looks at that older woman, and she's just like, "You're so beautiful," and she's like, "I know it."
Yeah.
She's got a little sass to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that woman is a costume designer that Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig worked with on White Noise. Her name's Anne Roth. Great movie. Had so much fun, and I loved seeing it with you, Rhyan, and I loved seeing it with Mom. Drew, it was fine.
You needed a little girl power in there.
Yeah.
What was Drew's take on it?
And I think that he just thought it was okay. I think we both liked it more than Oppenheimer, and I think we both liked it more than we were expecting to. But I think Drew was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, Oppenheimer put you in a weird frame of mind for Barbie, probably.
Yeah, I was so like upset after Oppenheimer. I was just like still processing my feelings about Oppenheimer, and I was like thinking about it during the movie. So I mean, like, just to have a kind of a break from it, and then us seeing it together with some feminine energy and in a packed house on a Saturday night, like it was a totally different experience. It was a party.
Yeah.
You're a cautionary tale. Maybe you shouldn't do the Barbenheimer double feature. Maybe take some time off in between, audience.
Yeah, Dad, definitely don't do the double feature. It's a scam. It's a goddamn scam.
Who made it up, though? That's what I want to know.
Here's what I want to talk about, though. After the movie. So after the movie, Rhyan and I are walking home and talking about this movie. And I'll just cut into it.
God.
And don't get too shocked. But let's just listen to this.
Everybody's Ken, everybody's Barbie.
Yeah, well, because it's
Alan.
true. Yeah, all right. And Allan,
Midge.
all right. And so Allan is like, okay, so they're like the other, like, so they can just be themselves. I'm an Allan, I'm a Midge. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Whoops. I'm okay.
You all right?
Yeah. Ouch.
Oh no.
No, I'm okay.
No, you're bleeding.
I know, it's gonna be okay. It's okay.
Let's get you a car home.
No, I'm fine.
Oh my God.
You were not fine, Rhyan.
Oh my God, Zachary, I don't know if we're still recording. Blood was pooling in my hand. I've never had that much blood.
Oh my God. I can't believe you had an audio file of the accident.
I know. Like, I don't need to hear that again. Oh
no.
But you don't
I know. That's why I want to give a little bit of a trigger warning, because it is like shocking. Yeah. But yeah, we were walking home talking about this movie, and then you just tripped on the sidewalk and landed right on your hand. It's like a horrible cut. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we don't want to talk about this in the movie because the movie's so upbeat. But but it was a very sobering end to this really fun night. And it was bad. You cut your hand really bad.
Do you ever think about dying, Rhyan?
Oh God! Well, oh my God, Zachary. Right on. Yes. No, Austin was afraid I hit my head. I didn't hit my head. But no, it was a real drag because it was so much fun. And I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Why did that have to happen? But oh well.
But yeah, thank God it was like the fleshy part of your palm. So it's like, of all the things that you could cut or impact, it was probably the least dangerous, and you didn't break anything or.
Well, that's what's so insane. I should have broken my wrist. I mean, I don't want even. I'm just so thankful that didn't happen.
Yeah,
I'd be really embarrassed.
Well,
maybe Ruth Handler was looking out for you.
Aussie is my guardian angel always.
Yeah, we had to rush you home and clean it up, and then you just went right to bed. Oh yeah, and then when we came in the door, and the dog is like barking and like nipping at my heels, and I'm trying to like get Rhyan into the bathroom, and the dog's freaking out. I was like, "This is chaos!
This is fucking chaos!" It was. It's like, baby, cut it out. He's just trying to help me.
But Rhea, I mean, other than that, not so great ending to the night. I really did have a blast, and I loved seeing this movie with you and hearing you and Mom just crack up through the whole thing and like have giant beaming smiles on your face through the whole movie and just being so engaged in it. It was just like such a fun experience. Definitely one of my favorite theater going experiences of the year.
Wait, yay! Mine too.
Well, you're only.
But even if it was a part of 100, I know it would have been my most favorite.
Yeah.
Because I don't laugh like that, and I needed to relax and laugh. Maybe I laughed too much, and that's why I fell. But maybe I'm just a clumsy girl. No, it was awesome. I love this, you guys, and it was awesome, and I've enjoyed debriefing on it together. I mean, maybe we can do. Don't you guys do retakes? Like if I see it again, maybe, can we do a take two?
Sure.
Like
yeah.
a 10-minute take two. Okay, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Yeah. If you see it again, feel free to
I'll let you know.
Email us at filmwithfamilypodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Like the plug.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. You know, you can rate and review our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also follow me and Austin on Letterboxd. Zachary Zweifler and Austin C. Pruett are our handles. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, and YouTube.
I was wondering. Yeah. Formerly known as Twitter. X. What a terrible fucking name.
Yeah, maybe we should pull out of X. I don't know if we should support X.
Yeah, don't look for us on X.
You look for on a podcast. That's great.
We love the movies.
And we love our family.
Well, you've done a great job, you guys. I love it. I just love the whole concept. And it's going to get big. I just had Hope listen to it in Malta. Like, you gotta find out. So she started listening, and she knows all the international women. So let's see how big we can make this.
Wow. We're going to be huge in Malta.
Hey, a lot of people start in Europe, you know? A lot of artists, bands start in Europe, and then they come over here and like, woo, big time.
Well.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you, Aunt Rhee. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll do a slow wave like they do at the end of the movie to everyone listening.
Bye, Barbie. Bye, Barbie. Bye, Barbie. Bye, Ken. Bye, Ken. Bye, Ken.
Bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.